Hi everyone, Sarah Wyles here today for the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel, and we are going to be making these two cute little Valentine's Day cards with the new Lawn Fawn Radiant Heart backdrop and all my heart Lawn Fawn stamps and dies. Here, like I've said in the past, I keep a lot of pieces of paper, cardstock cut down so that when I'm ready to stamp, I can go ahead and do it. And so I pulled some of those. And here I am stamping that cute little mouse with his balloon. I'm using VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink here. It's a pigment ink, but it's so dark and I don't always, every once in a while I'll have to stamp twice, but not very often. Here I wanted to stamp 4. I don't know if this is just a me thing, but I always overstamp. I stamp more just in case I mess up, especially with the fact that I'm going to be coloring these in with Copic markers. So I stamped 4 of these, and I'm going to go ahead and put this stamp away and set it to the side. I will use more stamps later, but I'm trying to clean up my little area so that I have room to move forward and do what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. I'm also going to cut my backgrounds out with the Radiant Heart backdrop. I choose a couple pattern papers from my stash. I can do traditional. I can do the cutesy pink and red and white for Valentine's Day. My girls are not really into the cutesy stuff. And so a lot of the time I stick with the colors that they like and I'm okay with that. Plus I really like the bright colors. And so I had picked a teal plaid and then the floral one as well. And then I pulled them off to the side and knocked all the little pieces from the inside of the radiating parts that come out from the heart. I knocked all those little pieces into the garbage can and sat those down. And then I had let my ink sit for a little bit because you can smear that. And so I had sat it to the side and let it sit for a minute. And since I went ahead and started to die cut those out as well. I'm going to go ahead and cut all 4 of those out and have them set to the side. I think I end up pulling my Sizzix out a couple of times during this, but I do have the habit of letting the ink sit off to the side. I am not big on waiting or having patience when it comes to doing my crafting, but when it comes to this ink, if I don't want it to smear or get all over the place, I let it sit for a couple minutes. Again, it is a pigment ink, but the ink works so good and it's so crisp when you stamp with it. So I do enjoy that. Here I'm going to go ahead and bust off the larger heart, and I will also pull out the smaller heart. And I pulled some black metallic cardstock from my stash, and I'm going to cut multiple sets of hearts out with these. Like I said, I have the habit of doing multiple. So I'm going to go ahead and cut multiple sets of this out and set it to the side. I do not use all of them on my cards, as you saw in the beginning. But it's always better to have them just in case you want to, right? Why not? So I'm going to go ahead and do all that and move those to the side. I'm going to do one more set. Yeah, that sounds about right. Here, I'm going to go ahead and clean some of this stuff up and put my dies in their little bags and put my silhouette off to the side. And then I am going to go ahead and pull my cutter out, and these I'm cutting the gold backgrounds to go behind the Radiant Heart backdrop, and I'm cutting them a little smaller than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just so that they don't stick out the sides, but they're not small enough that you can tell from the little parts that radiate from around the heart. I thought the gold was a cute little touch to it, and so here I'm going to go ahead and pull 2 of the mice, and I pulled C3 out first. And I went ahead and colored the mouse in. I colored him all the way in, all of him except for his ears and his little cute nose. And then I'll go ahead and let that one dry a little bit and move over to the second one. And I'll do the same thing, color him fully in. And if you can layer the Copic, so instead of adding another color that I knew would be quite a bit darker, I went ahead and just added my shadowing with another layer from C3. And I liked the way it looked. I liked that it wasn't too dark. And then I will also go in here. These ones don't have it on the end, so I wanted to make sure to show you. That is C3. And then I use C5 just to color in the cute little noses. And I tried to make it to where you can see, but it didn't quite work right. They kept wanting to rule. So I decided I would pull out a piece of paper and go ahead and mark them down and write the numbers for you. So just in case you wanted to look them up or get some, then you could. Here is B00. And I am going to use that for one of my balloons. And again, I'll do the same thing with this. I'll let it sit for a minute while I color my other balloon or the ears. That is YR000. And then that is RV21. And I am going to use RV21 for the inside of the ears and then go over it a little bit with YR000 because it does blend it out a little bit and makes it a little lighter. And I also touched the cheeks with the RV21. I went for a second layer just to shade the balloon, and then I was done with that one. This is RV13, and I'm going to use the combination of the RV21 and RV13 to fill in this balloon. And, of course, the little ears and the little cheekies. I go ahead and add my shading there, and I am done with that. I'm going to go run this through the ears, and I am done with those. They make it so easy and so fast for you to color. Here I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to use for the front of my card. So I figured I would pull out my Tombow Mono liquid glue and go ahead and glue my pattern paper piece to the front of my gold shiny cardstock. I'm just making sure it all sticks down right, no glue poking through or anything like that. And I go ahead and I do the same thing for the second one. I shake it off camera there for a second and then get it going again. I usually have it sitting where the little tip is down so that I don't have that problem, but I had set it on its side, unfortunately. And here I went ahead and pressed it down on my mat and then set that one aside. And I'm going to put those over to the side, and I am fixing to grab my my stamper again, and I am going to go ahead and start stamping my sentiments. And I am going to use for the front of my card, I'm going to use I Love You With All My is the first set, and then there's a second one that actually has a die that says heart, and it's more scripty. And it looks really cute when it's die cut out. It just adds another little layer to it. I ran my finger across it because it was the first time using it. And here in a second, I'm going to go ahead and rotate that piece of paper and then stamp it on the other end as well. So I have the sentiment for the front of both cards. And you see there, you could see a little shadow from where there was still a little bit of ink left on, but it didn't do any double stamping or anything. It did perfect and stamped right where it was supposed to. So I'm going to go ahead and put those pieces up and set the stamps to the side again. I'm going to pull this out, and my magnets wanted to stick together. But I'm going to pull my Sizzix back out. That little bitty die is the one that cuts out the scripty heart. And so I cut the pieces apart, and I'm going to run this through and cut out the two words that say heart. And then after I am done with that, I am going to pull out my cutter and start trimming down the I Love You With All My so that I can get it ready to go on my card as well. And I do have a mask that's sitting there on my cutter. I do apologize. It's been there for a little bit now, and I haven't pulled it off because I don't want to waste it, but I don't really want to stamp over it either. And yeah, I'm horrible about that stuff. But here I'm trimming down my sentiments, one for each card. I decided I could trim a little more off of that, so I went ahead and did it. And then I'm going to pull the second one out, and I'm going to trim it as well. When it's really thin, it sometimes can be a little harder to trim it down. But I wanted them to be straight. I didn't want them to have little flag ends or anything like that. So here I went ahead and grabbed my card bases, and I am using my Scor-Tape to go ahead and put that on the back of my card so that I can adhere it to the front. The Scor-Tape is really, really strong, and then I don't have to worry about it falling off or anything like that. I just really like using the Scor-Tape. So I do that to both of them, and I usually put them on one end or one side, like right there, and that way I know that they're lined up right and everything, and I press them down and they're all even. And at this point, I get to start deciding where I'm going to stick things on the front of my card. I thought I was going to slide the mouse underneath the saying, but I decided since the way it is and it has this little crook, you could go ahead and actually stick it right behind the mouse, and it goes into that little crook right by where his arms go up to hold the balloon. So I put the Scor-Tape on the back of my sentiment, and then I had grabbed my 3D foam squares from 3L and started to add those to the back of my mouse. I did cut 2 in half so that I could make sure that there was enough 3D adhesive behind all of it that it wouldn't smash down. And so I'm looking to where I'm going to stick it, and I figure I'm just going to stick it through the center of the heart, and I'm going to go ahead and peel these pieces off the back and add my mouse down. And then I'm going to grab the heart, and the word heart, not the actual heart, and I'm going to play with the actual gold heart and see where I want it. And I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive and stick it down there towards the bottom. And then I'm going to stick some glue on the back of the word heart and adhere it down as well. Then I'll go ahead and set that one to the side and pull the second mouse out and start adding my 3D foam to that as well. I'll go ahead and cut another piece or 2 of these in half so that I can get them stuck where I want to, so I know that it's not going to smash down in an envelope or anything like that, which these ones probably won't go in an envelope, but I go ahead and take the adhesive off the back of that and stick it down, and I'm going to stick the mice in pretty much the same place. I'm just going to stick the second golden heart in a different place on this one. It was a little crooked, so I went ahead and pulled it up and straightened it out again. I'm going to add heart down here at the bottom, just like I did the first card, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab a heart and start playing with it, but I decided I didn't like the big heart up here by the balloon. And so I'm going to grab one of the smaller hearts and I'm going to add it up there by the other balloon. I'm going to straighten up my area a little bit, but I'm going to pull out some of my paints from my stash. It's metallic watercolor. And so I'm going to go ahead and dip into the gold metallic watercolor, and I'm going to go ahead and splatter the front of my cards with this. And it doesn't take, because it's just adding a little bit of water, it doesn't take very long for it to dry, which is very nice. And so I go ahead and I move that to the side. I'll move these and I'll wipe up my mess after moving my little hearts and stuff. And I do keep all those little extra pieces because I can still use them for something else. And here I decided I was going to go ahead and stamp on the inside of the card as well. And like I said, it doesn't take very long for that to dry. I was checking and making sure. So here I'm going to go ahead and add my magnets so that it'll hold it down and I won't have to worry about it moving. I'm going to take the larger heart. There is an outline and then there's a full one that is colored in. And I'm going to go ahead and just ink that up with spun sugar. It's a distressed oxide. And I'm going to stamp that heart down. And then I'm going to start pulling out some of the words. This says, "You make my," and then there's the heart, obviously, and then the word "smile." And then there's this cute little stamp where you can actually put a smiley face on the heart. So I decided I was going to stamp the smiley face on the heart first. So I moved the other stamps to the side. And so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that little smiley face real quick. Look how cute that is. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the "You make my," and then put "smile" at the very bottom. So "You make my heart smile." I just thought that was too cute. And then I will go ahead and pull the other card. I wiped my fingers off really quick. But I'm going to pull the other card and do the same thing. I'll go ahead and stamp the heart in the center. Again, I have a little issue with it wanting to stick to my fingers for a second. But I went ahead and double stamped the distressed oxide. Oh, triple on this one. Just so it got a good coverage. And then I went ahead and did the exact same thing. I'm going to go ahead and do the smiley face first. get it exactly where I want to, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that smiley face, put it away, because those are little bitty pieces. I will lose them if I don't put them back where they belong. I went ahead and did the You Make My, and I'm going to add the smile. And that will finish the inside. And you can see where it had ink on it and it pressed down. But since I had it on the back side of my stamping platform, it went ahead and hit the right place again when I laid it back down. I'm going to go ahead and clear my stamping platform off so I can show you the 2 cards. And that finishes them off for me. I really enjoyed making these. I love the little Lawn Fawn creatures and the backgrounds. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this, and make sure to like and subscribe to Scrapbook Pals so that you are notified when new videos are uploaded. Make sure to check out their website, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.